What is up, guys? Welcome back to the frickin' channel, Walking on Water. In today's episode, I'm gonna briefly talk about the Pelican Catch 100. And in my previous videos, I set up the kayak, I did my first thought video, and now the final Pelican Catch 100 video is gonna be the water test video. As you can see, we are on the water. We are on Hayden Lake up here in North Idaho. It's a little windy out. As you can see here on the Pelican Catch 100, I don't know if you can see it up front, but I got my giant tackle bag, I got my camera bag. I got my little Mr. Buddy heater because it's 29 degrees out. Got the fish finder hooked up, both rod holders. Got the net, the chair. I got a gas can in the back. And I also got the 2.5 Suzuki outboard motor on this thing, okay? With the motor itself, it pushes this kayak about 2.3 miles an hour. I ordered sea anchors or drift socks so I can slow myself down so I can fish for kokanee at 1.1 mile an hour. Stability wise with the outriggers, this thing's great, okay? I would not fish on this thing without the outriggers. For my type of fishing, I have a downrigger on this side that's got a weight down in the water. I'm leaning here, I'm leaning there. I mean, I'm hitting waves right now. My Mr. Buddy heater's on a base and it's not moving. It hasn't fallen over once, so that's great. I ended up taking the front hatch of this kayak off because there was absolutely no way that I was gonna fit everything I wanted to fit on here with that front hatch taking up so much space. It's a great battery box if you're looking just to get out on the water and troll with a little Minn Kota trolling motor and that's all you wanna do. But as you can see with everything I have on this kayak or little boat, that I had different plans. So I plan on sitting on this thing for long hours of the day, Chinook salmon fishing, sturgeon fishing on the Columbia, Chinook on the Columbia, obviously the big lakes that we have up here in North Idaho, Lake Coeur d'Alene, Hayden, Priest, and all other lakes that are in the surrounding area, which there's thousands of, okay? So, the review for this kayak as a whole, okay? So, it's a little short, which is fine, because you know the lake before you buy it, right? You know a shorter kayak is gonna move a little bit more in the water. That's why I opted in to put the outriggers on the back. It's a wide kayak and it has a deep hole, and the seat for the stability sat way too high, okay? So I went back in, I actually flipped the mount of the seat over, and I found some bolts that fit flush, and I bolted them on the bottom, and now we're sitting down in the kayak, which is allowing us to have a lot more stability on the water. The Pelican Catch 100 will 100% flip on you if you're standing on one of the sides. There's been so many stability tests since this thing has actually come out, and just like any other kayak, it's no different, okay? So you do want to have, in my opinion, if you're looking at taking this thing on any big body of water where you get wind channels or you get wind pushing waves or you get waked out by boats all the time, I would suggest, unless you're 100 pounds, obviously, if you're a little guy or you're a smaller person, then you probably won't have to worry about the stabilization as much as somebody that is 250 pounds, right? I shift my weight, a lot moves, okay? So, stability was my biggest thing, okay? Stability and the actual plastic itself on this kayak. I feel like the Pelican Catch 100 could have invested in a little bit thicker plastic or whatever kind of material they use to actually make their kayak, mold their kayak. If you drag this thing on the ground too much, one season of fishing, you'll have a hole in it, okay? So just be mindful of that if you're looking at a Pelican Catch 100, that you do not want to drag it at all. I'm actually picking up a trailer here in a couple days, and we will no longer have to lift and push this kayak, so that'll be freaking fantastic. As you can see, I'm rocking back and forth. I'm keeping my body centralized, so obviously I'm not leaning too far. I'm not gonna take those kind of risks in this thing. When I fight fish, I'm gonna lean back, I'm gonna lean to one side depending on what kind of fish I'm fighting. Kokanee, obviously we're just gonna reel it in. Chinook, I might lean a little bit, and a sturgeon, obviously I'm gonna be leaning hard. But overall, with the outriggers on the back, it brought the stability up, I mean, I honestly think to like a 95. So I mean, if we're doing from 0 to 100, before it was like a 50, wasn't super thrilled, but after I put the outriggers on it, it definitely changed the game a ton. If you're looking to buy one of these things, if you're looking to buy one of these kayaks to do any kind of trolling with, and you're looking at a Suzuki 2.5 4-stroke motor, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna push this little boat at 2.3 miles an hour, okay? So for me, I thought I was waiting for my drift socks in the mail. So, and they did, for some weird reason, they left Troutdale yesterday. They were supposed to be here yesterday, and they just never showed up. So I'm out here fishing today, doing this review on the water for you guys with a bucket, okay? So with the bucket, it slows me down to about 1.5 miles an hour, and that's too fast for kokanee, okay? So if you're gonna use the 2.5 horse motor and you're not gonna use a Minn Kota, just understand that when you buy this thing, to just go ahead and pick up 2 drift socks to hang off the side so it can slow you down if you're fishing on a lake or something like that. Now, if you're on a river and you're using the current, who cares? Throw it, frickin' make a cleat right here in the middle, set up your anchor and move on. Now, the amount of stuff this thing can carry and the weight capacity is actually massive. So the weight capacity for the kayak itself, bare minimum, is 450 pounds. 450 pounds is a lot, but if you add a person like me that's 250, a motor that's 40, and then you got all this gear, which is relatively, I mean, I would say about 75, you're pushing that 450 cap right off the bat. So, in my mind, you can hold a ton of stuff on this little kayak. It's only 9.9 feet long, so obviously you need to customize something. We gotta come up with something for the front, like a milk crate or something, so we can dial in the battery and everything a lot easier, so it all sits in place, and I can stack the bags up, and it can all be in the front, centralized, localized. I think that's gonna work out a lot freaking better. But it only being 9.9 feet long and being able to carry 450 pounds, I think the weight capacity definitely skyrockets the Pelican Catch 100 a lot higher up than some kayaks where you are long and skinny and you can't hold as much stuff either on the bow or the stern. Overall review of the kayak, okay? We're gonna start with the pros. The pros, a massive weight capacity, and it's wide, and it's got a deep pull, and honestly, I feel good in it. You know what I mean? I can grab the sides, I can grab the rails, I can move it side to side. That's great, I love it, okay? I like all the rail systems it comes with. I think that's super awesome. Obviously, you can get all these different mounts, you can extend rod holders out, anything you want to customize it to your liking. The next great thing about it is the deepness of the freaking channel, or whatever you want to say, the deepness of the actual interior of the boat, the hole underneath. You're sitting down in the kayak, you know what I mean? You were not before, but once the seat's lowered, you do feel a lot more centered, a lot closer to the deck of the boat, and it feels good to have that stability back, okay? Another amazing and huge pro for me is the Suzuki 2.5 motor accessible transit mount on the back. I think that's freaking huge, it's awesome, and I absolutely love that part of this boat. I love the 4 rod holders, and I love the fact that I'm able to rig up my downrigger from the back. Now, that is not something that Pelican did, that's just something that I chose to do, but right here in this video is letting you know that you can definitely do that. If you want to learn how to do that, I just posted another video prior to this on everything that is on this kayak that I set up exactly how to install it. It's a long video, but there's step-by-step guide on how to actually install every single thing that is on this freaking kayak. Now, into the cons of this kayak, okay? Always got to be positive first, then we're going to talk a little bit about the negatives. So the Pelican Catch 100 did not come with the outriggers that you see here on the back, okay? And what the outriggers actually do for this thing is provide a huge sense of stability. And it's not just a sense, it actually adds a ton of stability, okay? Without the outriggers on this thing, I would not be out in the middle of the lake right now. As you can see from the camera angle, I don't know if you can see it that well, but it is pretty choppy out here, and it's only getting choppier. There's a 15-mile-an-hour crosswind, and we are actually trolling back to the dock right now. I'm gonna go pick up some drift socks. But stability was a huge con for me on the Pelican Catch 100. As you can see, I have a lot of gear on here, and stability needs to be one of my top priorities, or else it's just not gonna work for me on the water and the waters that I fish, okay? The second con for me is the fact that they put the seat too high. okay? If I was designing a seat for this Pelican Catch 100 and I wanted a 360 seat, I would still design it super low to the deck of the boat, so when you can still spin 360, but you do not compromise the stability of the actual boat or the kayak while you're doing that. Now, the third con that I have, and the final con, is just the limited amount of hatches on the boat itself, which honestly really isn't a huge deal. One hatch up front, that's great. Can't really get to it much for me because I'm, like I said, I'm bigger and I freaking have to get up there and try to access a hatch, which is a-okay, that's fine. If you want to install hatches, you can install your own hatches. That'll work out just fine for you. And some people might not see that as a con at all. Maybe people don't want a bunch of hatches in their boat, and I can understand that as well. So there are my thoughts and feelings, and this is the water test. As you can see, it's pretty choppy out here, and she's doing pretty freaking good. I got the little Mr. Buddy heater set up. It's still rocking and rolling, and freaking, it has not fallen over one time, and we've been hitting waves, been getting waked and stuff like that. So honestly, overall review, I think that this Pelican Catch 100 is going to be a fishing machine this year, and I think that Pelican did a great job, and I commend you guys for doing that, and I think this is a great water boat, and I would honestly recommend it to anybody that's looking for a small watercraft they can get out and troll on and fish for long hours of the day, because the seat is actually super comfortable, and honestly, it's $1,250. So for everything you see on here, minus the fish finder, the rod holders, and the actual rods and stuff like that, but everything you see on here, I purchased for the price that I could have got the Old Town PDL 120 for. And so I'm pretty happy with my decision, and I think we're gonna go out and crush it this year. 2023, this is the last Pelican Catch video that I'm gonna do, probably the last kayak review video that I'm gonna do. And so thank you guys so freaking much for tuning in to Walking on Water. I'm Cole Walker, and I will see you guys in the next one.